with another great video. You see, I got my dashiki on. It's a special day. I'm going on the African Brazilian tour with the beautiful Thais. She has a great experience. I'm gonna definitely leave all her information in the description below. And she's gonna tell us a little bit about her background and how she even got into this tour stuff and why she's even doing it, you know? So introducing the beautiful and smart Miss Thais.
Hi everyone, my name is Rosa. I was born and raised in Rio De Janeiro, and today we are going to know more about Little Africa region. So here we are at Port region in Rio De Janeiro, and we are going to know more about the African heritage, Afro-Brazilian history, memory and culture. And so let's go. So now we are at Praca Maua. Praca Maua is this area that we are now, like around the port area. And so in the past here, everything was a beach. And so we have, like on the right we have the port, and on the left we have all the marine area.
Okay.
So what happened in this place? Actually, we have different types of modernization in this area since the beginning of the 20th century, and the last one was during the Olympic Games. So we have a lot of modernization process, and all this type of modernization that we have in the city, most of the population was removed, and the second time that we have this modernization was in 2014-16, when they built like this new museum, Rio Art Museum, that we can see from the right side, and also here Museum of Tomorrow, that is on the left side. So all these museums also, they brought like Museum of Tomorrow bring like the future, and Rio Art Museum bring like more the real art culture. But none of them was trying to bring like the memory of this region, because here was one of the beginning of our culture in Rio. So we are going to know more about walking around this area. But going back to the past, so if we walk down here, Brazil was the last country to abolish the slavery, and in the middle of the 19th century, most of the population here was African descendants. So we are going to you are going to understand more about the history, but we can walk. We are going to walk around two different neighbors. Yesterday was holiday, so probably the end of last night.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the end of yesterday? Oh, they've been out here since last night?
Yeah. Because yesterday was Monday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, on Monday there is a samba over there. We're going to pass through. And yeah, it was holiday, and we're teenagers, right?
I missed the samba.
Yeah. So here we are at Largo São Francisco da Prainha. So here also was a beach in the past. So it was called a little beach. And so this area is important because in the end of 19th century, most of the African slavers, actually. Like we have free slavers and slavers, so most of them they connect each other, and they built a house here called Casas de Zumbu. So houses of Zumbu. Zumbu actually is the connection between angu, that is a type of food, and it was a place that most of them they live it together, and also they have a religion tradition that in Brazil is called candomblé. It's Afro-Brazilian religion, and some of these Afro-Brazilians they came from Bahia as well, and they live it also in this area. So in that time they connected our culture, the Yoruba culture, because most of the Africans they came from Bahia, they came from Nigeria, so different parts of Africa, that they have Yoruba tradition more strong than here in the south, that most of them came from Bantu culture. So they built these communities and they connected also this culture together. But also we have these type of ladies, so quitandeiras das minas, these ladies, they use it to sell this type of fruits or foods in the marsh of around Candelaria area.
Mm-hmm.
But today we have this statue of Mercedes Batista, and Mercedes Batista was the first black ballerina that we had from the municipal theater. So actually she didn't born in Rio, she born in Rio countryside, but she studied at the municipal theater ballet, and in the end of the 70s she met with Catherine Durham, another African ballerina from New York. So Catherine Durham, she came with her group, and Mercedes met her, and Catherine gave her a scholarship to study with her in New York. So after this, Mercedes Batista, she created her own Afro-Brazilian company, dance company, Ballet Mercedes Batista. And she was really important because she created Afro-Brazilian dance, and she bring it all the elements from the candomblé. So around candomblé we have the orishas, and all this type of orishas has a different type of movement. So Mercedes brought to her dance all the movements from the orishas as well. So it was a way also to bring the religion to the dance. And in this area today we have a lot of blocos during Carnival. We have most of the blocos, they rehearsal here, and sometimes also there is a samba during the weekends. So it's a place that you should come during Carnival. It's really nice.
Okay.
But also around the year, almost every week we have some type of samba here as well. Here we are at Pedra Do Sal. So Pedra Do Sal was an important place for Afro-Brazilians because most of them, in the end of 90s, that when I told you before, most of the Baianos, people from Bahia, they came to live here in Rio. And when they came, they started to live in this area, especially here around Morro da Conceição that we are going to visit soon. Mm-hmm. And most of them, they were musicians, so important musicians at, for example, Donga, Pixinguinha. Can you see in the photo there? So the photo is just here at the middle of the Pedra do Sal, and most of them, they were like the first samba composers. So what samba means? Samba in a Bantu language, the definition is the daughters of Ayo. And what does it mean? Does it mean that the same rhythm that the musicians that around Macumba is a candomblé ritual. So the same rhythm that they play around the candomblé rituals, after this they put it some lyrics, and that's why the samba started actually. So we can see until today some people make a confusion about Macumba and samba because they made like a different, they can hear the rhythm, so they do this kind of misunderstanding. And so samba for us Brazilians is our Afro-Brazilian culture. And some people said that the samba was born here, but actually here is one of the most important places for the samba until today, because every Monday and Friday you can come here and you can see the samba party over there. And so around these graffitis also we can see different important persons also from Afro-Brazilian heritage. So we can see over there Dona Ivone. Dona Ivone was considered like the queen of samba in Rio because she was the first black woman samba composer. So here in this graffiti we had also Zumbi dos Palmares, and Zumbi dos Palmares was the leadership from the biggest Quilombo community in Brazil. So Quilombo's communities is a place of resistance of ex-slavers, and during the slavery, so this community was the biggest Quilombo community that we had in Brazil for more than 2,000 people. And so here we can see also the influence also around African American culture in Afro-Brazilian culture, especially around the music. So, so today we have the influence, for example, at our funky and hip hop also. We have a lot of influence from, we also have different, we have blues around this area as well. And here in the past we had also black parties in this spot. So Pedra do Sal also is a place that is considered a Quilombo community, because in a symbolic way, in a way that we preserve also our Afro-Brazilian cultural history and memory. So Pedra do Sal is considered a heritage of Rio De Janeiro culture. So just for you to know, and this is also a place that every year we do like a wash around the stone to remember our ancestors' history as well. So down here, what we had is after the abolition of slavery in Brazil, so the black population didn't have any access to be included in the society. So we didn't have place to live, access of security, education, health, but most of them that they live in this area, some continue work in the port region, and some also had to create different types of way of living. So here we have like the first type of housing that they call it cortiços. So cortiços was this type of house that many people live it together. So like in one room they could have two families, and also after the abolition, most of the Portuguese, Spanish immigrants as well. So here in this port area also most of Polish people also came to live here, and they live together in this type of house. Also, we had the first favela in Brazil, that is that one, Favela da Providência.
Okay.
So this favela also, most of the population, they came after the Canudos War in Brazil, and the government, they said then if they win the war, they could receive a house for the government. But in the reality, this is never happened, and most of the population, they occupy this hill. And after the abolition also, most of the population occupied Morro da Providência. Here we are in front of the Valongo Wharf, and Valongo Wharf is the place that it was the port that, the biggest port actually in the Americas, that almost 1 million of African slavers disembarked here. So Brazil, during the slave trade, Brazil was the biggest slave market around the Americas, because 60% of the Africans, they came from Brazil. And Brazil was the last country also to abolish the slavery. And most of the Africans, they came from Congo, Angola, Nigeria, Guinea. And so here, actually, the story of this Valongo Wharf is that in the middle of the 18th century, what happened actually? The Portuguese family, they arrived to live in Brazil in 1808, and the population around the city was concentrated around Praça 15 area. So here, this area was an isolated area, so we call it Valongo because here was like a valley. So we have two different types of hills, and here was a completely isolated area. So the population, they couldn't deal with the Africans that they disembarked over there. Most of them, they arrived really with a lot of diseases, really weak, and they decided to transfer from this area, and they created also the complex of slavery. So the complex of the Valongo was like the port, also the houses, the market, the market that we saw on that street, Camerino Street, the hospital, the houses, Casa de Engorda, and also the cemetery. So the cemetery of the New Blacks. So here actually is the denounce of the Portuguese colonization in Brazil, because we had more than 1 million of Africans that work as a slaver in Brazil, and also they build the country in their own hands. So all the economies from the slavery in Brazil, if we think about the gold, if about sugar, if about coffee economy, Brazil was developed by the African slave hands. So we can see these two types of stones from here, because also this story was uncovered many times in the history. So in 1843, like the king, Dom Pedro II, he brought his future wife to marry with him, and he he decided to modernizing this area. So do you remember the Greek statues that we saw over there?
Mm-hmm.
So he brought also the Greek statues over here. So he put it over there, and he also changed the name from the Valongo Wharf to the Imperial Wharf. So you can see also the
All right, another great excursion in the books in Brazil. Little Africa tour with my girl Dice. Definitely check her out in the description. All the information is there. I'll see you in the next video, and I'm gone.